I will never forget, right after 9/11, and Anne Graham was on television, and she was being interviewed by Larry King. Larry King, as I always say, Larry King barely alive. And he said to her, Anne, you believe that God is in control of everything? She says, yes, I do. He said, meaning you believe that God was responsible then for 9/11? And she said, without, batting an eye, it was just so cool. She was so smart. She goes, Larry, for the last 20 or 30 years, we have been telling God to get out of every single part of our life. She says we've told him to get out of our schools, told him to get out of our government, out of the mainstream, out of the Main Street Assembly, out of every single part of American life. We've told God, get out. We don't want you. Just the other day, a Supreme Court judge, a district judge in, I think it was Milwaukee, Wisconsin, declared a day of prayer, the National Day of Prayer, to be unconstitutional. Now, of course, before he ever did that, the President of the United States ignored it, stopped it. First time that has ever happened since its inception. The President said, no National Day of Prayer. That was before this Supreme Court ruling. So we have, in fact, thrown God out, or told God to get out of everywhere. And she said, you know what? When you tell God to go, she says, God is a gentleman. And when you tell God to leave, he will leave. And when God leaves, bad things happen. Now, I do believe that God is a gentleman. And I believe, just as she says, he will leave when you tell him to. But I also believe that he will return if we ask him to. And so, I for one, and I encourage you, we have those of us who are so inclined to oftentimes say, put me on your prayer chain. Put somebody I know who's in trouble on your prayer chain. Put somebody who's ill, and I'd like you to put him on your prayer chain. So I'm asking you this. Please, put America on your prayer chain. When I took the oath of office, stood on the floor of the House of Representatives, raised my hand 5 times. The oath I took never had a word ever. There was no word in the oath about the party. There was no word in the oath about the president. You're not taking an oath to the president. You're not taking an oath to the party. You are taking an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the state of the United States of America. That's it. That's it. No party.